everybody. It is Jeremy Wolf of Danberry Realtors. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. I'm really excited today to be joined by Chelsea Daniels of Christian Hypnotherapist. Thank you, Chelsea, for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm
excited to be here.
I'm really excited to have you. So I appreciate you agreeing to come in, and what you're doing with hypnotherapy is really exciting. And we've known each other for a while, and it's been exciting listening to your business and what you do and how you do it. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to share it with everybody else so they get a better idea of what hypnotherapy is and how you can help them and all those kinds of exciting things.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. So let's just start out real quickly. Like, what inspired you to become a clinical is an important part of that, right? Because you've went through a lot of education and training and licensing for this, but what inspired you to become a clinical hypnotherapist?
Well, I have a background in psychology. I have a bachelor's from Bowling Green State University. And I've always really loved, taking personality tests and getting everyone I know to take them.
Those are always fun.
They are. Because I love understanding people and how to communicate with them. I had actually never even heard of hypnotherapy in a clinical context until, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago when I had read this fictional book where the main character was a hypnotherapist. And the plot drew me in. It was a great book, but more than that, it left me feeling like I think I would love that job. And I was totally skeptical about, how effective hypnosis actually was because, as I said, it was a fictional book.
Sure.
But in 2020, after really about 2 decades of struggling to moderate my own use of alcohol, I was encouraged by a family member to read Annie Grace's book, This Naked Mind, which is a hypnotic style book on how to control alcohol.
Okay.
And I don't think the author comes right out and says this is a hypnotic style book, but she does tell us that the book is designed to speak to the subconscious mind and undo the positive associations that the mind has made with alcohol, which is exactly what hypnotherapy does, by the way.
Okay.
So I was only about 3 chapters in when I completely lost the desire to ever drink again.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And believe me, when I tell you, I was a daily drinker. I drank every single day. So this shouldn't have been as easy as it was to just quit. So naturally, experiencing that, I lost a lot of my skepticism for how can hypnosis work. So it just kind of deepened my curiosity in the subject and became something that I started to really think about as a career. Like, this has helped me in a huge, major way. How can I use this to help other people?
Sure. Yeah, because I think that sometimes when you talk about hypnosis or even just general therapy, some people, you're always going to have skeptics, right? Mm-hmm. Like they just want to know what the effectiveness of it is. How is it going to work? How is it going to help me? So you initially get some resistance from people. So it's exciting that you were, first of all, so inspired by what you're reading. It's great to hear, you can read a book and just be so inspired by it enough that it makes you want to create a business out of it. So, and it also helped you personally, which is also really exciting because, you talk to people all the time, whether it's smoking, drinking, whatever habit they have, like, they'll tell you, I don't know how I'm ever going to break this habit, and I think that people automatically set up some boundaries like, I don't know how I can do this, or I can't do this, or I've tried to do it before and it didn't work. So I think it's really important as we go through this, just you educating people about whatever they're struggling with or whatever that obstacle is, that there is a way to resolve that. And you've talked a little bit about it. So what was your journey? How does one become certified in hypnotherapy? How did you get to the point of reading the book to actually where you are now, where you've created a business out of it?
Yeah, well, I figured the first step was to experience hypnosis myself. So I went to a hypnotherapist and had my first session just to make sure that it was really something that I could see myself doing as a career.
Okay.
And it was great. It was a lovely experience. It left me very relaxed. I felt really positive that I would enjoy this as a career. So I did my research. I looked for certification courses, and I really dug into exactly what it would take to be able to call myself a hypnotherapist. And let me tell you, it's really not much. It's actually a little scary.
Yeah.
There's some really quickie courses out there that'll give you, just enough information to be dangerous. And I don't want to be dangerous.
Sure. No.
I want to actually help people, truly help them. So more research, right?
Yeah.
I found an actual college out in LA that offers an extremely thorough degree in clinical hypnotherapy.
Okay.
And I spent 13 months going through that education. It was great. It was rigorous. It was a lot of work. It was a 6-month internship program included in all of that. And I really recommend, if you are going to go to somebody for hypnotherapy, to make sure that they didn't just take a weekend course.
Right. No, yeah, I get it.
So yeah, it was a lot of information.
If you don't mind me asking, when you went to do your session, what did you go there? What was the topic? What convinced you that, hey, based on this is legit? Like, I feel like that this helped me, so I can use it to help other people.
Well, that would have been, let's see, what I went in for with that session was actually weight loss at the time.
Okay.
And it was a really great session. I can't sit here and say that solved all of my then problems with my weight, and we can get into more of that later. But sometimes some issues will take one session. Weight loss is not one of those.
Okay.
So that requires more than one session.
So I just can't come in and say, hey, Chelsea, I want to lose 50 pounds, have one session, and then 2 months from now, I've lost the 50 pounds, is what you're saying. Some things are more intensive than that.
A little bit, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and most issues really aren't a one session kind of, one and done kind of deal, because you've taken years to develop this association. You've taken years to get to where you are. It doesn't necessarily need to take years to correct that or solve that.
That's good news.
Yes, exactly. But it was a great session. It really did help me. But what really broke down my own skepticism was going to school for this.
Okay.
Especially when I got into my internship and I started practicing and I started having sessions of my own with, initially this was just with other students, and then it became, friends and family, and then it became actual clients. And the more that I dug into this and the more that I experienced doing hypnotherapy with people, the more I realized, like, this is amazing. It's amazing the changes that can come out of this, and it's amazing the lives that can be changed with this modality. Sure.
Well, let me ask you this. So you say, you were surprised at how little in 13 months is pretty extensive, in my opinion. I mean, I wish sometimes the threshold was more for realtors, but you really were committed to doing that for 13 months. I mean, that's a long program essentially. And so there are people out there that can just do like a weekend thing, and then they want to go call themselves a hypnotherapist sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like somebody I want to trust to do that. So I think that your training definitely speaks a lot. Let me ask you this: is this a gift? Do you think anybody can be a hypnotherapist, or do you have to have a little bit of I don't want to say, like, you just can sense people, you can read people, do you feel like you have a gift for this?
I do. Yeah. I do think that this is part of why I felt so drawn to it, is because I am an intuitive person, and we can all tap into our intuition. That's not necessarily...
Intuition, that's the word I was looking for.
It's not necessarily special to, one particular person. Everybody has some sort of intuition, and you can tap into that. Some of us can tap into it a little easier, faster than others, but I do feel like this is because it's something that I've been naturally bent towards for my entire adult life. I love getting to know people. I'm very personable, and I love to sit across from somebody and hear about their story, their life, what makes them tick, what motivates them. That's something that comes very easily and naturally to me. So, if you want to call that a gift, you can.
Sure.
But I think it's just, that's part of my natural personality.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
I like to hear about people. I like to know what drives them. And then to learn some skills to help people achieve the actual life that they want, that actually feels like the gift to me. The education feels like the gift to me.
Well, I know in the conversations that I've had with you since I've known you, it's very, like, I feel very comfortable talking to you. You know what I mean? Like, you just have that personality where, like, hey, I feel comfortable talking to this person. You know what I mean? And not everybody has that. So I think that kind of feeds off of what you're saying there, that you just have that type of welcoming personality where people feel comfortable sharing with you. So I'm assuming in your sessions, they also feel very comfortable as you go through this, because there has to be a little bit of trust. Like, if I'm going to trust you to hypnotize me and ask me questions about things, like, I have to be able to feel like I can trust you also.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
What is, so this is a term that I'm not overly familiar with, and I'm sure a lot of listeners are not as well. So tell us a little bit, if there's a difference between hypnotherapy, which is what we're talking about here, and stage hypnosis. Like, what is that? What do those terms mean, and what's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, the premise of using hypnosis to achieve a goal is the same for both a stage performance and a hypnotherapy session, but obviously the goal is quite a bit different for a hypnotherapy session, right?
Sure.
Stage hypnosis is meant to be entertaining and funny and to get a laugh, which it certainly is, but a clinical hypnotherapy session is meant to heal. These are people coming in with real issues that they are burdened by, and they don't want to be burdened by these anymore. They want a big change.
Sure.
They don't want somebody to, they don't want an audience to be laughing at them or even clapping, at the entertainment value of it. That's not what a clinical hypnotherapy session is. This is a very private, serious issue that they're coming to a therapist for help with.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here, is because I believe in you and I believe in your business, and I think that you're doing amazing things. But unfortunately, and I'm sure you cringe at this, but there are a lot of people that's their only exposure to hypnosis so far in their life, is being somewhere where a group of people are told to go to sleep when I snap my fingers, or bark like a dog, or cluck like a chicken, or hop on one leg, and people think that that's what hypnosis is. And I really wanted to make sure that you have a platform, an opportunity to kind of get rid of that myth that people have, because, we deal with it same way in real estate. A lot of times people think, oh, anybody can do this. It's not hard. I'll just get on Zillow or whatever. And they just have all the misconceptions about what being an agent really is. And your profession really falls victim to that because of some of the silly things that people do see on TV. So I'm sure that's a constant battle that you hear all the time from people. What are some of the other myths about hypnotherapy that you'd like to take the opportunity to tell people are just not true, or take a chance to debunk?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're completely right. What people know about, or what they think they know about hypnosis, is generally what they've seen on TV. And it, like I said, is usually embarrassing things like you said, being made to quack like a duck or do something goofy. And that's not even an accurate portrayal of hypnotherapy. This idea of mind control, like, that's not what hypnotherapy is at all. I mean, for one thing, the client is not handing control of their mind over to me. Mm-hmm. Even if I wanted to control their minds, which I don't, I couldn't. Okay. It's not something that I can even do. So they're actually acutely aware the whole way through the session. They hear all the sounds around them. They're thinking their thoughts, et cetera. You can't be stuck in hypnosis.
Okay.
It's not a state that I even made up, right? This is
Sure.
It's a natural brain wave that your body goes into at least twice a day. When you're falling asleep at night, you actually pass through the state of hypnosis.
Okay.
So it's already something that's naturally accessible to you. So it's naturally accessible to me. So all I'm doing with my clients is putting them into this natural state that their body goes in and out of all on its own anyway. And, if you're falling asleep at night, right, and you hear a noise downstairs, you immediately are awake.
Sure.
You're immediately ready to respond to that. And that's the same thing. Like when somebody's in hypnosis with me in a session, if they hear something that requires their immediate attention, they can immediately open their eyes and be, cognizant, aware, ready to handle whatever that noise is or whatever. So some people get worried that they're going to get stuck in hypnosis, or, they're going to tell me something that they don't really want to tell me, their deep, dark secrets. And that's not it. I don't have control over your mind
right.
at all. You can be in the state of hypnosis and think to yourself, I don't actually want to tell her that, and then not tell me that.
And so what you're saying is we're all in hypnosis every day.
Every day.
So there's no objection to somebody saying, well, I can't be hypnotized.
Oh,
because
no,
we're
yeah.
all hypnotized on a daily basis,
Yes.
or a state of hypnosis is what you're essentially saying.
Yes.
How does it work? Like I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, so it's been a long time since I've studied that subject matter, but I have some, idea of how the brain works and how thoughts come in and how they're processed. But explain to us how it works.
All right. Well, we'll probably need a little bit more than 20 minutes to really dig into that.
Give us the
But,
condensed version.
I'll give you the condensed version. Yes. Yeah. Well, like you said, some people think that they can't be hypnotized. No, there's no way you could hypnotize me. I sat through a stage hypnotist and they couldn't do it, And some people are less suggestible than others. That's true. And some people are a little bit harder to get into the state of hypnosis. That is also true. But because it's a natural state and we go in and out of it, everybody passes through the state of hypnosis on their way to sleep. Yes, you can absolutely be hypnotized. And so basically, in some way, we're all suggestible to various external messaging. And sometimes our subconscious mind will make a positive association with a behavior that disrupts our lives. And no matter how much willpower we try to enforce to change that, we keep falling back into old habits and behavior patterns.
So you're talking about consuming alcohol or smoking cigarettes or eating a bowl of ice cream before bed while you're watching your favorite TV show, those types of things.
Right. So those examples would all fall under habit control. So let's use that as an example. Okay. So the first time that, let's say the first time that you tried alcohol, probably it didn't taste very good to you, right? It's
beer was terrible. I remember thinking, why do people drink this?
Yeah, exactly. It's actually kind of a disgusting taste, right? But you're with a group of people who are really excited that you're trying this.
Sure.
So you try it, your first thoughts are like, oh my gosh, this is disgusting. Why do people like this? But the people around you are so happy and encouraging, and they're excited that you're joining them in their favorite thing or whatever, so even though it's kind of against your immediate will, like your taste buds are your first thought, right? Like, this is gross.
Yeah.
But the rest of the association is really positive because you're making these people happy and they're smiling, and so your subconscious mind is like, this is good. This is going to make our lives better.
Sure.
So you've just made this positive association with something, and then from that point on, every time you have another beer, your subconscious mind is remembering that first time. That like, oh yeah, everybody else really likes this.
Okay.
Everybody else is really happy that I'm doing this. This feels good. So now if this gets to a point where it's starting to disrupt your life and you can't, go an evening without a beer, that's when that's when this habit control comes in, where you're like, I don't even want this every single day.
Right. Yeah.
That's when you come see a hypnotherapist.
Yeah. I'm to the stage of my life where I don't consume a lot of alcohol anymore, just because it got to the point where like, why am I doing this? I wake up the next day, I feel miserable. Like I'm unproductive in the evenings if I do decide to have a few drinks. And, sometimes like you just get to the point where like, why am I even doing this? But some people can't turn that off. And I think that, using your modality is something that can be definitely beneficial for a lot of people. And I know we just brought it up, but what are some of the types of issues that you tend to focus on or that you can help people with?
Yeah, besides habit control, some other things that I do really like to work with, there's tons of issues or conditions that hypnotherapy can help. I like to work with habit control and addiction, but I also really love to work with fears and phobias.
Okay.
I'm
scared of snakes. Can you help me with that?
I really
terrified of
yes,
snakes.
I would actually love to help you with that. Insomnia, chronic pain, grief recovery, things like that are pretty near and dear to my heart, and I like to work with those issues.
And I've heard you talk about grief recovery a few different times, and that has to be uncomfortable, right? Because it's one thing if I come in and tell you like, hey, I'm having a trouble with alcohol or food or weight or whatever, that's not an emotional grief-stricken type thing. But if you're talking about somebody dealing with death or, other tragic events, divorce, that type of thing, like not only are you going into hypnotherapy, but you're really using some of your just general therapist skills because you do have a background in psychology, because dealing with people's grief is not fun. Like that's very awkward and uncomfortable. How do you do that? Talk to me about that.
Well, I want to back you up just a minute, because you said that coming in with something like habit control you're not dealing with your emotions, but actually most of those are coming from some kind of emotion.
Okay. I guess what I'm saying is like, I'm not, if I'm,
but I know.
Yeah, I'm not going to come into you crying like, hey, my mom just passed away and, she was my best friend. And, it seems different than me saying, hey, I really wish I could stop smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? Like the emotional impact is different, but maybe you're telling me it's not.
It's really not. I mean, honestly, when people are coming in with habit control, they're embarrassed.
Okay.
They're coming in with a lot of shame, because this isn't just like I just, only want to enjoy a cigarette once or twice a week. No, these are people who their lives are being run by this habit.
Sure.
And it's stressful and it's embarrassing. And at the root of that is a lot of shame and this frustration that they can't quit it. So very similar, kind of client coming in for I'm devastated over this loss versus I'm devastated over the fact that I can't control this thing in my life that's running my life. So a client that comes in, to answer your question, a client that comes in with grief, it's not uncomfortable at all for me.
Okay.
I actually I feel very honored to sit across from somebody who's struggling to contain their emotion. I don't want them to contain their emotion. I want to be the person that's sitting in front of them, sharing that experience with them. Ultimately, that's my goal, is to help get that emotion out, to keep it from being trapped in the body, because a trapped emotion that's what becomes scary and dangerous to the body. But if we can release that is really, it's a healthy expression of emotion, to release that, especially in tears or venting dreams or things like that. We want to get that emotion out and processed.
Okay.
To move through the grief.
That's deep.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that hold in grief and emotion because they don't want to cry or they don't have somebody they feel comfortable talking to. So getting that out sounds like it's very important.
Yeah. I mean, I think that especially men, but women too, but especially men are taught not to express their emotion. So I actually get quite a few clients that come in with that exact problem. They might not have grief, but they might just be coming in with, I can't even feel my own emotions. And I know that that's not healthy for me. And I'm, now I've got these health issues, heart disease and all of this, because I can't get my emotions out. So they come in for help with that. And that is such a privilege to be able to help somebody sit there and cry.
Well, I can just tell by talking to you, I already knew this, but even as we dive deeper into this, like, you just care about people, which is obviously a really important part of this. And so I'm excited to hear how you're going to answer this next question I have for you. Tell me about a surprising or your most memorable success story.
I have a lot of those.
Pick your favorite.
Okay, one of my favorites was actually one of my very first sessions, and this was with a fellow hypnotherapist. So we're students together. I'm still in my internship. And, we're like, okay, you want to practice on each other? Yes, definitely. Let's do this because I don't want to look like an idiot with my first client.
Right.
So, I walk her through a whole session and she's like, you know what, let's work on this. Let's work on this pain that I've been having. I've been having this chronic pain for 6 months and it's killing me. I'm so tired of it. So let's see if you can do anything with that. And I was like, okay, well, don't hold your breath because I don't know what I'm doing.
Brand new here.
I don't know what I'm doing yet.
This out.
Yeah. And so anyway, we end up realizing, like, while we're talking, we dig into, what's been going on, what's going on with all that. Long story short, this is a case of anger. Okay. So I walk her through releasing this anger. I bring her up out of hypnosis and she is immediately in tears because she's just like, oh my gosh, like I haven't been pain-free in 6 months and I don't feel anything right now.
Really?
Like, yes. It was so cool. And it was a total like, oh my gosh, this works.
Yeah. That had to be a validating moment for you.
So validating. I mean, I just spent 6 months, already in this program and it was so validating and it was so exciting. And I was just like, wow, this is going to be so cool to be able to offer to people. And it's just like from that point on, it's been one session after another like that, where
awesome.
I see the fruits of this therapy.
Yeah, that's a really cool story. What's I need this. This is a question that I thought would be interesting. What's one piece of advice for the listeners to improve their mental health and their well-being today? Like, what have you dealt with or seen that you're like, hey, if you're dealing with this, you're struggling with this, you're feeling this way, what's one thing we all can do today to feel a little bit better?
Okay. And I tell this to all my clients and anybody who will listen because it's so effective. You can do your own kind of hypnosis at home, right? So take advantage of the fact that now you all know that you pass through this state of hypnosis every day.
All right.
So take advantage of bedtime.
Okay. What should I be doing at bedtime to feel better?
You should be picking something positive to put into your own subconscious mind every single night. So have your daily affirmation. Everybody knows what daily affirmations are, right? It's a big buzzword these days. So have at least one of those, if not 3. Pick 1 to 3 daily affirmations that you say to yourself every single night. It's the last thing on your mind that you tell yourself towards whatever goal you're working on for the year.
And then what happens when I go to sleep? My mind starts working on that?
Your mind is going to, you're already so close to that state of hypnosis, right? You're so close to the super suggestible state.
Okay.
And you're going to put that positive thought into your own mind on your way to sleep. Think about that. And you're going to do that until you see that change in your life. So pick the same 1 to 3
I'm excited to try this
every night. And when you see that change happen, then pick a new one.
Okay.
Start working towards a new goal.
I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
I see you once a week, so I'm going to start working on this, and I'm going to keep you updated on how it's going. I've never heard that before.
All right.
I've heard people say, oh, yeah, think positive thoughts before bed, or whatever you think about before you go to sleep, you dream about, which I don't necessarily think is true. Is it?
Your subconscious mind likes to throw a lot of stuff out there when you're dreaming.
Okay. But you're saying whatever those affirmations are, if I think about those before bed, then I'm on my journey to accomplish those things because my subconscious mind will process those and start to speak them into reality.
Exactly.
Okay.
Change your thoughts.
Okay.
You will change your behaviors.
All right. A couple more things and then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
What advice do you have for somebody that's considering hypnotherapy, but maybe is a little bit hesitant about it?
Well, come have a phone call with me. I always offer a free 15-minute phone consultation. I want to talk to my clients before we set up an actual session just to make sure that hypnotherapy is the right modality for them. There are a handful of things that are out of scope for me, so I want to make sure that I'm not taking on somebody that's going to need a psych referral or a medical referral.
Okay.
That's something that might be more appropriate to go to a psychologist or a doctor for, or a licensed mental health counselor. So have a phone call with me and let's talk about your hesitations. Let's talk about your issues. Let's figure out if this is even the right place for you to be.
Okay, great. How can people reach you? Tell us what they should do, how they get a hold of you. What do they do if they want to come see you?
Okay, well, go check out my website, christianhypnotherapist.com, or you can email me, which is Chelsea at chelseadaniels.com.
And I will attach that information to the caption of this so people can take a look at that or take a look in the comment section, and they'll know how to get a hold of you. Well, thank you so much for coming in. That was a quick 30 minutes, and it was very informative, and hopefully people listening will gather something from this. And if there's something that they are struggling with, whether it's one of the habit things that we were talking about or grief or whatever those types of things are, give Chelsea an opportunity. She is an amazing person. She has a gift for this. I know she does. She's so easy to talk to. She's so friendly, and she genuinely cares about people. So go see her. You will be happy that you did. Thanks, Chelsea, for coming in.
Thank you, Jeremy. This was great.
All right, yeah. So Jeremy Wolf of Danberry Realtors, I really appreciate those of you that are tuning in today. Until next time, I appreciate y'all.